Laurel! If you complete that ritual, you're doing exactly what Ehrman wants!
We make the sacrifices no one else will. Our warriors die proudly for a world that will never thank them.
And then your Tevinter ally binds the mages to Corypheus!
Perhaps we could test the truth of these charges to avoid more bloodshed.
Or perhaps I should bring in a more reliable ally.
The Archdemon flew off as soon as you disappeared. The Venatori Magister is unconscious but alive. Cullen thought you might wish to deal with him yourself. Stroud, you're the senior surviving Grey Warden. What do we do now?
You leave. You're still vulnerable to Corypheus, and we've lost enough people already fighting corrupted wardens. By the authority of the Inquisition, you are banished from Southern Thedas.
Adamant's influence continues, your worship. I submit Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, who remains loyal to Corypheus. We found him alive, offering extreme resistance, likely because the Order will ask for his head. In more colorful terms. To say nothing of justice you might personally require for what was suffered in the Fade.
Many places felt the pain of Adamant. You will answer for a great deal.
I recognize none of this proceeding. You have no authority to judge me.
On the contrary, many officials have communicated that they will defer to the Inquisitor on this matter.
Because they fear. Not just Corypheus, but Tevinter, rightful ruler of every piece of ground you trod in your pathetic life. I serve the living God. Bring down your blades and free me from the physical. Glory awaits me.
Since death is a validation for you, I will delay it. Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, you'll spend the rest of your days in the deepest, darkest hole we can find.
We shall see which of us outlives our legacy, Inquisitor.
Another of the lingering pains of Adamant, your worship. Sir Ruth is a senior warden of the Order. She was one of the many who slit the throat of another to bind a demon. She does not contest this. In fact, she surrendered to us. She requests no mercy. She wants the public justice of the headman's axe.
You were free to rejoin your comrades, and yet you present yourself here.
There is no excuse for my actions. I murdered another of the Order. That blood marks me more than the Blight ever could.
Accepting their actions while thralls of Corypheus, many treaties allow wardens any extreme if it opposes the Blight.
I can't do it. I can't use the greater good to justify my crimes, as if it would create a future I could be a part of. It is wrong that this broke me. I've done worse with full sanction. I can do nothing except be an example of the cost.
You feel your life is over? There's a place for such wardens. Sir Ruth, you'll go to the deep roads. Your death may be as quick as you choose.
This sends no message. This is just an end.
Inquisitor, is it true? Is the mark on your hand magic cast by Corypheus? I wanted to think it was a blessing. A sign the Maker was returning to his creation. How credulous of me.
The anchor's nothing more special than a misfired spell.
At least you had the good fortune to take it from Corypheus. Does it hurt? The anchor, that is.
Only when I laugh.
Very good, Inquisitor.
My Lady Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the Tevinter.
Is that a note of distaste I detect, Mother Giselle?
I admit his presence here makes me uncomfortable, Inquisitor, but my feelings are of no importance. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
He's mentioned his family. They don't appear to be on good terms.
Yes. I believe you're correct. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Just what kind of meeting do they have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhere private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
I imagine you'd be relieved to see him gone.
If this is what it seems, and it works out, it might be better for all concerned.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet, they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy...
That did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, you are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
If you think I'm going to trick Dorian into meeting his family...
I feared you might say that. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I pray you change your mind, Inquisitor. Perhaps their letter will persuade you. If there is any chance of success in this, it behooves us to act.
What's on your mind?
There's a letter you need to see. It's from your father.
From my father. I see. And what does Magister Hallward want, pray tell?
A meeting.
Show me this letter. Know my son? What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter.
You think your father would actually do that?
No, although I wouldn't put it past him. Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. If it's not, I send the man back to my father with a message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married? Because you left?
That too.
Let's go meet this retainer then.
I wonder how much my father paid this man to wait around just in case I showed. We'll find out soon enough. Uh-oh, nobody's here. This doesn't bode well.
Dorian.
Father. So the whole story about the family retainer was just, what? A smokescreen?
Then you were told. I apologize for the deception, Inquisitor. I never intended for you to be involved.
Of course not. Magister Parvus couldn't come to Skyhold and be seen with the dread Inquisitor. What would people think? What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion?
This is how it has always been.
You went through all of this to get Dorian here. Talk to him.
Yes, Father. Talk to me. Let me hear how mystified you are by my anger.
Dorian, there's no need to.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
That's a big concern in Tevinter, then.
Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader. It means every perceived flaw, every aberration is deviant and shameful. It must be hidden.
This display is uncalled for.
No, it is called for. You called for it by luring me here.
This is not what I wanted.
I'm never what you wanted, Father. Or had you forgotten?
So that's what all of this is about? Who you sleep with?
That's not all it's about.
Dorian, please. If you'll only listen to me.
Why? So you can spout more convenient lies? He taught me to hate blood magic. The resort of the weak mind. Those are his words. But what was the first thing you did when your precious heir refused to play pretend for the rest of his life? You tried to change me.
I only wanted what was best for you.
You wanted the best for you. For your fucking legacy. Anything for that.
Don't leave it like this, Dorian. You'll never forgive yourself.
Tell me why you came.
If I knew, I would drive you to the Inquisition.
You didn't. I joined the Inquisition because it's the right thing to do. Once, I had a father who would have known that.
Once, I had a son who trusted me. A trust I betrayed. I only wanted to talk to him, to hear his voice again, to ask him to forgive me.
He says we're alike. Too much pride. Once I would have been overjoyed to hear him say that. Now I'm not certain. I don't know if I can forgive him.
He tried to change you.
Out of desperation. I wouldn't put on a show, marry the girl, keep everything unsavory, private and locked away. Selfish, I suppose. Not to want to spend my entire life screaming on the inside. He was going to do a blood ritual. Alter my mind. Make me acceptable. I found out. I left.
Can blood magic actually do that?
Maybe. It could also have left me a drooling vegetable. It crushed me to think
He found that absurd risk preferable to scandal. Part of me has always hoped he didn't really want to go through with it. If he had, I can't even imagine the person I would be now. I wouldn't like that, Dorian.
Are you all right?
No, not really. Thank you for bringing me out there. It wasn't what I expected, but it's something. Maker knows what you must think of me now, after that whole display.
I think you're very brave.
Brave?
It's not easy to abandon tradition and walk your own path.
At any rate, time to drink myself into a stupor. It's been that sort of day. Join me sometime, if you've a mind.
I expected the hero Ferelden to be at Adamant, but she was not with the other wardens. She studied the Blight after killing the Archdemon, and may know something that could help us. If you like, I can have agents look for her.
That sounds like a wise choice.
I'll make preparations in the war room. Now, was there anything else?
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You have a history with the Warden who entered the Blight, don't you?
I count her among my closest friends. She's probably the only person I trust completely. Haven't heard from her in some time. She just disappeared. I try not to think about what might have happened.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly. I did encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
Was this when the Chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Val Royeaux who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall. Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
If you say so.
I'd like to know more about your work with the Ben Hasrath.
Ben Hasrath is actually a general term. You've got the secret police who investigate problems inside our territory. You've got the re-educators who take people with problems and fix their minds. Or make them disappear. And then you've got the spies.
How do the re-educators work?
I only know the basics. Wasn't my area. That said, keep a man awake long enough. Ask the right questions, give the right potions, and you can get him to say anything. You don't need blood magic or demons to change someone's mind. We're a lot more fragile than we'd like to believe.
You can alter someone's beliefs that easily.
One of my friends was a re-educator. He said that every memory is like the page of a book. When you examine a memory, you're turning to that page, and when you're there, the page is laid bare. Write a few notes in the margins of the page, erase a word here and there, and your whole outlook changes. I always felt a little weird reading after that conversation.
The re-educators sound horrible.
Yeah, they probably do. Here's the thing, though. What happens in Orlais when you commit a crime or betray a lord? They just lop your head off. At least the Qunari try to fix you.
And you're a spy?
Close. I am now, I suppose. But that's not how I started. They sent me to Saharan because they needed someone who could fight and hunt down problems. That whole island was a sack of cats. Incursions from Tevinter, Tal Vashath, and native rebels fighting both sides. And in the middle, me, trying to wrangle the rebels and restore order.
How'd that work out for you?
About as well as you'd expect. I hunted down a lot of rebels. Lost a lot of friends to the Vince, or the Fog Warriors, or the Tal Vashath. One day I woke up and couldn't think of a damned reason to keep doing my job. turn myself into the re-educators.
You'd heard what the re-educators did to their prisoners.
Yes, I had. I wanted them to fix me like they fixed them. The Ben Hasrath ordered me to go to Orlais, ostensibly as a Talvashath, and work undercover. That's how I ended up here.
That's, damn.
You did ask. Anyway, nice talking with you.
Commander Cullen did good work at Adamant. Breached those walls like he'd done it a dozen times. Nice job with the demons, by the way.
I wanted to talk about you, if that's all right.
You know, I'm from Tevinter. Wasn't a slave, but even citizens have it rough if they're not mages. I was a soldier, but women joined the ranks under a different program. When they found out I was passing, it got ugly. I ran, met Bull near the border, and ended up here. Not a life I'd wish on everyone, but it'll do.
What's Tevinter like for a citizen? Someone who isn't a slave or a mage?
I'm of the Separati, citizens who aren't mages. Mages are in charge and everyone knows it. But a wealthy merchant can have an easy life. At the low end, people just try to stay out of slavery. My father was a tailor. I joined the army after the Imperial slaves drove him under.
How did slaves drive your family out of business?
My father made shirts, aprons, that kind of thing. Nothing fancy. One of the magisters had a pet project. To prevent the poor from dying of cold in the winter. Nice, right? He had Imperial slaves making simple peasant clothes and selling them for almost nothing. That magister's nice idea put out slave-made clothes at prices my father couldn't match.
It's difficult to compete with someone who doesn't get paid.
That's Tevinter. My father sold himself into slavery. He's one of the Servus Publicus, the Imperium-owned slaves now.
You said you left Tevinter when they discovered your secret.
Women are allowed to serve, but only in certain ranks and disciplines. I was up for promotion, but the healer I'd bribed to sign off on my physical had to tend to a sick magister. When the replacement healer saw what was or wasn't in my paths, he made threats. It was slavery or death, so I knocked him out and ran.
I'm surprised you escaped from the Tevinter Imperium so easily.
It's not like I lived in Minrathous. I was in Trevis, not far from the Navarran border. It helped that I was being chased as a deserter, not a runaway slave. Slave hunters only get paid for what they catch. They're efficient bastards.
It's against the law to pass as a man.
It's a crime to lie on an Imperial application for service. Would have been a heavy fine or slavery. For 10 silvers, the healer said he'd tell the Tribune I was sick in the head. Some pity for the mad little girl. That was when I hit him. I'd served for a few years. I was good at hitting.
Why did you decide to live as a man?
I didn't decide anything. I've been like this my whole life. My parents wanted me to marry up. They tried to find me a nice merchant's son. Every day, put on a dress, look into my father's shaving mirror, and just hate myself.
How did your family react when you started?
My mother wanted to throw me out. She said if I didn't marry well, I was dooming the family to slavery. She was happy to take the money I set as a soldier, though. Not that it mattered in the end. My father. When I was little, he'd angle his mirror down so I could pretend to shave, just like him. He never said anything, but I think he knew.
If you had the chance to use magic, would you change all the way?
What? No. I don't want any magic like that within 10 yards of my body. When I was younger, I don't know. Everyone has silly dreams. In Tevinter, dreams like that get you killed. Bull helped me make a good life. Nice armor and a well-placed sock, and I'm happy.
We'll talk later. So you like to have fun. The Inquisition seems an odd fit. Why are you really here?
What do you mean? To help people.
It's starting to sound like you're looking for something more.
It is. Mostly. Okay, fine. There's talk and... I want to see.
See what?
I don't know. I've got all this chantry stuff in my head, and it makes sense, right? But it's fuzzy. I want to see if it's all really real. I just don't know if I want to really know. So I'm selfish. It's all for me. Count yourself lucky, I guess.
Tell me about yourself.
What about me?
How about the basics? Where are you from?
Ferelden?
I got that from the accent. Where in Ferelden?
All over? Okay, fine. Denerim for a bit. South, north, wherever I want.
There are no connections you want to mention at all.
Nope.
How very Kunari of you.
What?
Never mind.
Good, right?
You're skilled. Who taught you how to use a bow?
No one.
That seems unlikely.
What? I picked it up here and there. Mostly it just makes sense. It's not like that for you.
Usually it takes considerable discipline. Hence my question.
Hence? Look, I work at it. Practice a little. Not like Cullen and his pets. I mean, you miss, then you don't. Is it that hard to see when it's wrong?
Well, it's not like that for other elves, I know that.
Most I know couldn't find an arrow sitting on it. Right. Maybe I just make it look easy in shite company. Fact still is, no teacher. Where would I find one in alleyways, anyway?
I'm just interested in talking to an elf like me.
Don't think so.
Why not?
Well, maybe you're all right, but most elves are too... elfy. Like that's soulless, right? Never be as good as we were. Well, who's we? I'm just fine.
I think there's more to it than that. A few thousand years more.
Hey, someone wants to be angry about old debts, be angry. Be a terror that never lets an enemy forget. But if you're digging it up so you can wear it, that's just weird. I mean, you Dalish don't really know. You have stories, but that's all they are. It's all fancy dress, not history.
We'll talk later.
If you say so.
Inquisitor, I've found where the Red Templars come from. They're in Fall Redoubt. The Knights were fed red lyrium until they turned into monsters. Samson took over after their corruption was complete.
How do you know Samson?
He was a Templar in Kirkwall, until he was expelled from the Order. I knew he was an addict, but this... Red lyrium is nothing like the lyrium given by the Chantry. Its power comes with a terrible madness.
The Red Templars swarming Haven were proof enough.
We cannot allow them to gain strength. The Red Templars still require lyrium. If we find their source, we can weaken them and their leader.
I like finding the Red Templars' vulnerabilities before fighting them head-on.
We'll need every advantage against what courses through their veins. Caravans of red lyrium are being smuggled along trade roads. Investigating them could lead to where it's being mined. If you confront them, be wary. Anything connected to Samson will be well guarded.
Good to see you again, Inquisitor. Hope you've got your comfortable boots on. The scouts have seen a number of Fade rifts all over the forest. We've located this mysterious Fairbanks. He won't share his information with anyone but you. He and his men are camped out at Watcher's Reach, on the path ahead. From what we can tell, they're refugees from the war. Peasants, mostly.
Tell me everything you know about Fairbanks.
We don't know much about him. He appeared after the Civil War started, helping people fleeing from the destruction. Fairbanks is likely not his real name.
Do you know anything else about the region?
They call this place the Emerald Graves. Legend says that a tree grows here for every elven knight of Halam Sharal who perished in its defense. Makes you sad, doesn't it?
We are the last Elven. Never again shall we submit.
Oh, I'm sorry, Inquisitor. I spoke thoughtlessly.
Thank you for the information. I'll head out.
One other thing. A group of deserters from the Imperial armies has established itself here. Freeman of the Dales, they call themselves. They are hostile to the Inquisition, and everyone else. Watch your back, Inquisitor.
Sarah, you're confused. I can help. The joke means the horn's on the cow's head, but there are different horns that make noise when you blow them. It's funny because the cow horns and music horns are very different. Cullen explains it better.
Why does it keep talking at me?
He's a dead man. He and his crew.
Goodbye!
Watch yourself. I'd like to trust you, but we don't trust anyone these days.
It is an honor to meet the Herald of Andraste.
You're too kind.
As much as I admire you, however, I did not reach out to the Inquisition just for this. As my missive stated, we can help each other. You have encountered the Freeman. Aggressive bastards, no? They've killed a dozen of my people. We've tried to fight, but we cannot match their strength. You can. Why should you care about this, you ask? Because the Freemen are colluding with your enemy.
Which enemy do you mean?
The rogue Templars. I've seen them through the woods, heading for the Freeman bases, leaving with crates. Destroy the Freemen, and they'll lead you straight to the Red Templars. This I promise.
I'll look into this, Fairbanks.
All my information about the Freemen is right here, in our camp. Help us, and everything I know about the Dales, about these woods, I will share with the Inquisition.
Who are these Freemen of the Dales?
Most are deserters from the war, tired of fighting and dying for a cause in which they have no stake. But recently, the Freemen have organized, started attacking anyone and everyone. Their new leaders are driving them to take the Dales for themselves.
What is your opinion of the Civil War?
When I quarrel with my cousin, wine is spilled. Perhaps someone loses a tooth. When Celine feuds with hers, a country is torn apart. Does it matter to a farmer or a woodsman who reigns in Val Royaux? Yet they suffer. We're all weary, Inquisitor.
Tell me about your people.
Simple people. Most have lost family. All have lost their homes. I found a few, helped them, found this cave for shelter. Word spread and more came. We just want to survive.
I need to be going.
Be safe.
I wonder if my village is still standing.
Keep your hands and weapons to yourself.
What? What is it?
The sky wants to say something. It's trying, tempting, words in the wind, whistling, wandering, wasted. It's going to rain. Not here, but somewhere. The thunder will sound like her belly after the soup.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
No crown, no nobles, no Inquisition.
One down!
I wonder if there is a single place in the Dales that does not know a human footstep. Ardathanas de Elgara Masula Eva Venan. Excuse me?
Excuse yourself. Whatever you said and what I did, same difference to me.
I'd hoped, well, our people can sometimes feel the rhythm of the language, despite lacking the vocabulary.
Uh-huh. Know what else is good? Words that mean things. Like these. Words.
Then heed his Lhasa. remarkable how some will take advantage of chaos to further their own cause.
Please, help us!
You don't have to be afraid, Sarah. I won't hurt you. I won't stab you when you're looking somewhere else. I won't do that to your boots, or that other thing to your arrows. I don't understand what that last thing is, but I won't do it either.
That thing is not right.
A note. It claims this red lyrium's not coming from the deep roads.
Your bow was a tree once. A girl with a long name met a boy with strong hands there. Her body warm, leaning against the trunk, hair tangled in branches and fingers. Forever, no matter what. They cut letters in the bark. When her parents took her away, he cut the letters away to forget. Every time you pull it, the part that was a tree remembers. Can you feel it under your fingers?
It wants me to talk, but I'm not falling for it. Were we after them? I think we were.
The Freeman's leader should be holed up here. This place has seen better days.
War always brings opportunists.
When did they arrive?
A few hours ago. He's talking with him now.
That seems to be the last of them. We've struck a blow against the Freeman.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Sarah, if you eschew all things elven, why not a crossbow? They require less training.
Ugh, too winchy.
Ah, yes. Winchiness. A point I had not considered.
Another letter on the smugglers, referring to Samson.
Sarah, no matter how you turn your head, your ears point to the Fade. Do you do it on purpose?
Make it bother someone else.
It sees him ready to jump. Pain pounding, pulsing. Life of frustration can finally fall, to freeze.
Ah, yes.
It holds him high, shows the hole, where everything falls without him. He never needs to leave. He matters here.
That is one interpretation, yes.
You think it is different?
I think he fell, and it held him as he died, leaving him with images that told him his life was worthwhile.
That's much sadder. But yes, calm, comfort as the cold takes him away.
You're both nutters.
You want to be the one with the words that wonder.
True.
Stop it!
What color is the sky, Sarah?
Hang on.
It is an earnest question. What color is the sky when you look at it?
You know, blue mostly. Except for the breachy bits.
And when you looked past the breach? As perhaps you were drawn to do.
Greenish? And clear a long ways, and kind of felt like falling. Oh, makes my head hurt. You make my head hurt.
We are not so far apart, you and I.
We will be.
Sarah. My tongue wants to whistle on the start. Sarah. But it has to stay still, or the R is a D. Sarah. Seda, seda, stada, dada, dada, dada. If you try, you can say it without moving your mouth. See? Sarah. Say it enough, and it stops being a word. Sarah, 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 Sarah.
Piss off, thing.
Another letter mentioning Samson, and papers with names. Cullen could use this.
won't be able to hurt anyone again.
You saved my people. We'd given them up for dead. Perhaps the stories are true.
The Freemen have been defeated.
They hurt so many of my people. Now, it's finally over. Thank you. Perhaps with the Freemen gone, we can find a proper home. Argon's lodge was always well situated. Inquisitor.
I need to be going.
I'll be here.